morning. I have come with another module, module 6.8, where we will learn the theoretical concepts of valuing perquisites. The term perquisites, have you heard this term? I know that you heard this term because in Cadbury, we call that one Cadbury is their perk. Perk means when you're getting a perk, it's something like entertaining you, something you're happy about. If somebody is gifting you a perk, then you will be happy. So this perquisites meaning along with the salary package, employer is giving you certain provisions that will make you happy. So this, it can be an official car, it can be an official bungalow, free petrol, free diesel, free ration, anything like that. So many things are there. A free driver for your conveyance, electricity bill paid, educational expenses of children paid, gas bill paid, gardener provided, servant provided. So many things are there. So this is the valuation of perquisites. And here we will not be doing any problems in this module, but you have to remember that when I told you allowances also, one concept I have explained allowances. Now why this module is important? Whatever we will explain in this module, we are going to use that for the computation of salary problem. So these values will be having some relevance when you will do the salary computation. Here in this module, we cannot take problems for doing these adjustments. So when I will do the problems, I will tell you this you learned in perquisites, this you learned in allowances, like that I will tell you that. Then you can recollect from your memory. So this is what we are going to do in this module. I am going to explain perquisites with the help of PowerPoint presentation. So classification of perquisites. Allowances also we have divided into three. So same here, perquisites are also we are dividing into three. Allowances we learn different types of allowances, house rent allowance, city compensatory allowance, dearness allowance, like that. So that is one part of salary component. This is another part, that is perquisites. So perquisites can be divided into three, and we are using the short form perks. Perks exempted for all employees. Perks taxable for all employees. Then perks taxable only for specified employees. So here you have to learn who are all specified employees. All these concepts you are going to learn. So now continuing with the explanation, perks exempted for all employees. First thing you have to remember, free medical facilities or reimbursement of medical expenditure provided from employer's own source. So here you have to remember that free medical facilities. See, who can provide free medical facilities? Free medical facilities meaning, see for example in Bangalore, St. John's Hospital or Narayana Hridayalaya Hospital or Manipal Hospital. They can provide free medical treatment for their employees working there. So if you are going to some other hospital, if they are going to some other hospital, tax liability will be different. So free medical facilities or reimbursement of medical expenditure provided from employer's own source. So that is the thing you have to remember. So employer's own source, that meaning employer should be running a hospital. Then the employees can get the free medical treatment from that hospital. Next one is free refreshment supplied during the office hours. When you go to a bank, when you go to an insurance office, you can see that they are getting tea and snacks in between. The office is providing, it's completely exempted. But free meals is totally treated in a different way. So that we will explain. But now you have to remember, free refreshment supplied during the office hours, tea, snacks and all will be completely exempted. Free recreational facilities provided by the employer. Some organizations will give big loan. Some organizations will provide garden. Some organizations will provide health club, gymnasium, all this. So employees can make use of that. So this playground will be there. If it's a university, playground will be there, football ground will be there, basketball ground will be there. If they want to enjoy that, if they want to play that, they can play there. So these are the facilities provided. So it is completely exempted. Next is provision of telephone, including mobile phones given by employer to facilitate the business of the employer. So here you have to remember that the idea of giving the phone to an employee is just for the business purpose. When he is not in office also, he is supposed to attend the phone call. That is the idea. So then he is not getting any benefit out of that. If he is having that phone, he will be attending the office calls. So that is the reason for that, why it is exempted. Now free education to children provided by employer from its own resources. That meaning the employer should be an educational institution. See for example, if it's Christ University or St. Joseph's University or any other university for their employees. So employer is an educational institution. Value of such benefit does not exceed 1,000 per month per child. So you know that all the facilities we are reducing it to 2 own children. We have already learned that in allowances. And 1000 rupees per month per child only can be claimed. More than that, it will be there if it will be taxable. Now, cost of refresher course attended by employee met by employer, whether in India or abroad. See, for university professors like this, we have to attend so many refresher courses. So, the organization will provide the refresher course. They will call the guest speakers, resource persons will come, sometimes from abroad, sometimes from within the country. So, here you have to remember that cost of refresher course attended by employee will be completely exempted, because it's like a career advancement for the employee, and if the employees are better trained, it's good for the organization. So now next is any rent-free residential accommodation given to judges of Supreme Court and High Court. This we have seen in allowances also. So rent-free accommodation, judges of Supreme Court and High Court will get completely exempted. Now goods sold by an employer to employee at concessional rate. Any company, see if it's an ITC company, their own products they may be selling it to their employees at a concessional rate. It will be completely tax-free, exempted. Now, free ration received by members of armed forces. Those who are working in armed force, they are eligible for getting free ration. So, you have to remember that that will be completely exempted. Army canteens are there everywhere in parts of the country. So, if they have the card, they can enter there, they can get things at very less rate. So, free ration, it will be completely exempted. Now continuing with that, rent-free house given to an officer of parliament, anybody working in a senior post in the parliament, or a union minister, or leader of opposition in the parliament, chairman and other members of UPSC. So these are all important people. So they will get the rent-free house. It will be completely exempted. Maybe for security reasons and all, they will be getting that. It will be completely exempted. Now conveyance facilities to judges of Supreme Court and High Court. So High Court, Supreme Court judges, rent-free accommodation, different allowances also we have seen that it will be completely exempted. So this conveyance facility also will be completely exempted. Now accident insurance premium paid by employer for his own benefit. That meaning if something happens while the employee is in the campus, if they are in the working hours, if they are in the premises, if something happens, employer has to give a compensation. So usually they will take a group insurance. So that insurance premium paid by the employer. Because why that employer is paying? It's not to help the employee. Because if something happens to the employee in the workplace during working hours, they have to pay the compensation. So to avoid that, they're taking group insurance. So if the benefit goes to employee, it is taxable. So this benefit is for the employer. That is why it is exempted. Now, perks taxable for all employees. This you have to remember, rent-free accommodation that we are going to see in the next module. Concessional rent house. That is also we are going to see in the next module. So I have to explain in detail those computations. Now, obligation of employee met by employer. For example, gas and electricity bill. See, my house, gas and electricity bill, I have to make the payment. The bill will come in my name. But if my employer is paying that, it will be completely taxable. Education bill of children. So this income tax of employee, professional tax of employee, any commitment, any obligation, any payment of employee, if it's paid by employer, it will be completely taxable. Now life insurance premium paid by employer. Imagine my life insurance premium is paid by the employer. I am getting the benefit out of that. It will be completely taxable. Salary of servants employed by employee. So our own domestic servants, we have domestic servants at home. So what if their employer is paying the salary of those domestic servants? It will be completely taxable. Now private expenses of car met by employer. See, for example, if the company is providing or my own car, my private expenses are met by the employer, then it will be completely taxable, because private expenses I have to spend for that. So if the employer is paying that, they are giving me some perk, they are giving me some benefit. So that will be completely taxable. Now taxable only for specified employees. So this you have to remember who are all specified employees. Specified employees, the classification is very simple. So this I am going to explain in the next slide, because as per this classification, I have included this as the third classification. Specified employee. Specified employee meaning either who is a director of the company, or he is having more than 20% or more equity shares in that company, or any employee whose annual salary is rupees 15,000 per month. It's not the monthly salary, it's the annual salary. So you can see that even if the cleaning staff in our organization will be the specified employees because they are getting more than 50,000. So 50,000 annually, 50,000 divided by 12, close to 4,000 if your monthly salary if a person is getting, that will be specified employees. So it will be taxable. So what all the items? Education facility for children. If they are getting education facility, gas, water and electricity facility provided by employer, it will be taxable. Free transport allowed by employer engaged in transport business. See, when we transport business, those companies who are doing transport business, sometimes they will give free transport facilities to travel for their own employees. So that will be completely taxable. Now, services of domestic servants, including sweeper, watchman, gardener, provided by the employer. In our house, domestic servants are provided by the employer, or sweeper, watchman, gardener. We have to pay the bill if it's in our own house, but if employer is paying, then it will be completely taxable. So specified employee, who are specified employees? It's important for 2 marks. You have to remember that who is a specified employee is a director of a company, or if the employee has substantial interest, that is substantial interest in the company, holding 20% or more equity shares in the company, or an employee's salary is more than 50,000 per annum. This you have to remember, it's not per month, it's per annum. So if an employee is getting 4,000 change, 4,200 and all, for less than 4,500 also he will be a specified employee. Monthly salary of 4,500. So you can imagine everybody will be specified employee for income tax purpose. Now what is salary? Salary means all monetary benefits taxable under the head salaries after deductions under section 16. Section 16 you have not learned, that is entertainment allowance and professional tax. The second module first module what I am going to explain from here is rent-free accommodation. After that I am going to take section 16 deductions. So this I am going to explain. When it will explain, it will be clear to you. Now certain points I want to explain. This we will always use for computation of problem. Valuation of motor car will be there in almost all the problems. So I want to include this. So car, different headings are there. However, 4 divisions are there. So I am going to explain. Car owned or hired by employer. So sometimes you can see that those who are working in Infosys, Wipro and all, they hire transport, they hire buses, they hire car, or they hire any other method of transport, and they will transport their official purposes, employees for official purposes. Perks are nil because they are employees going from their home to their workplace. They are not getting any benefit. They are just avoiding the public transport system. No perquisites, valuation also will be nil. Now, car used for official and personal purposes. See, if it's only official purpose, if you're getting, there is no perquisites you're getting. You're only doing your official duty. But when you are using that official car for personal purposes also, perk will come. You're getting certain extra benefits. Your personal expenses, petrol or diesel expenses, you have to pay. You have to pay for your personal driver. But if you're getting benefit from the organization, it's a perk. So that is why computation is divided into 4. First one is if expenses are met or reimbursed by the employer. You are using the car for official and personal purposes. So, if the expenses are whatever personal expenses you are going and telling, the employer is reimbursing that. You will tell that 10,000 is my expense for that car, personal use. So, employer is giving that. So, what will be the treatment? If the cubic capacity of engine does not exceed 1.6 liters, it is rupees 1,800 per month. Please remember, this will be there in the question. Cubic capacity of the car does not exceed 1.6 liters, or it is exceeding 1.6 liters. So, to remember, it's 1,800 per month. Second point is, if the cubic capacity of engine exceeds 1.6 liters, it's 2,400 per month. So, 1,800 per month, 2,400 per month. Easy to remember. If the cubic capacity is not exceeding 1.6 liters and if it's exceeding 1.6 liters. Now, second classification, if the personal running expenses of the car is met by the employee. First case is, employer is reimbursing that. Employee can spend that for, use the car for official and personal purposes, and what all personal expenses for the car, employer is reimbursing. So, it is 1,800 and 2,400. 2 rates you have to remember. Whereas, if personal running expenses of the car, you are getting a car, you are using for official purpose only. Your personal running expenses are, you are only meeting the expenses. Then the rate, if the cubic capacity does not exceed 1.6 liters, it is 600 per month. If the cubic capacity of engine exceeds 1.6 liters, it is 900 per month. So 1800 and 2400. Second category, it's 600 per month and 900 per month. One more thing you have to remember, driver's rate is standard for all the classifications. So it's easy to remember. If the driver is also provided with a car, rupees 900 will be added as driver's salary. So 900 will be added as driver's salary. Now you have to remember, if the car is owned by employee and expenses are met or reimbursed by the employer. So car is owned by the employee. Only the expenses are met by the employer. If used only for official purposes, there is no perquisite, because your car you are using for official purposes, there is no taxability. But if the car is used for personal and official purposes, see, you remember the first rate, 1800 for small cars and 2400 for big cars. So this will be specified in the question, whether it's a small car or a big car. If the classification is 1.6 cubic capacity, that also will be explained, whether it is exceeding or not exceeding. So if the driver is also provided, additional charge of rupees 900 will be charged as the value of perk. So this driver's rate is same. Now, fringe benefits and profit in lieu of salary. Always I have seen that for 2 months. What do you mean by fringe benefits? Any benefit given to an employee as part of salary other than cash. Anything you are getting in kind. Examples can be car, interest-free loan, private health care, anything. If you are getting anything other than car, if you are getting. So any interest-free loan, if you are getting, if you have private health care. Now you know that health, everybody is taking that health insurance, and also this private health care is also very important. Now it's always, you have to remember that it's a perquisite and it will be taxable for all employees. We have seen that who will come as a specified employee? An employee getting 4,500, close to 4,500 monthly salary, also specified employee. So this will be taxable. If an employee is getting a driver for the official and personal purposes, these are all fringe benefits. Now next point is profit in lieu of salary. The section I have mentioned, see, I told you the rule is that whenever I am explaining the section, you have to remember that section 17 subsection 3. So any compensation received on termination of employment or retirement. Either you are terminated from employment or you are taking retirement. Usual, whatever we have accumulated as savings. It can be pension, commuted pension, gratuity, provident fund, encashment of leave, all this. Lump sum amount you are getting. Here you have to remember that these payments are fully taxable if it is not exempted under section 10. We have learned when it will, how much will be exempted for gratuity, commuted value of pension, leave encashment, all that. Taxable portion will be always whatever we will calculate, and we will get the taxable amount that will be taxable for all employees. So this is the profit in lieu of salary. Sometimes I have seen that in the question papers, what are fringe benefits, what is profit in lieu of salary. So I have explained it again, so you can write for 2 marks. So this is what I want to explain with this module. So perquisites. So this explanation is only theoretical part. So from this explanation, whatever is required for doing the problems, we will be taking that information. So along with that problem, when we will do that, I will take the values information from whatever we need, we will take that information, and I'll tell you. You remember we will explain this in allowances. You remember we explained this in perquisites. So this is how we are going to learn that. So I hope that this is clear. Problems were not there, only the theoretical aspect. Please remember that valuation of car is very, very important. It will be there in all the salary computations. Next point you have to remember, what are fringe benefits, profit in lieu of salary. These are all important for 2 marks. Now rent-free accommodation and concessional rent accommodation, that I am going to explain as the next module. Now entertainment allowance under section 16 also, passive reference was there, but I have not explained. I am going to explain as the next to next module. So then only you will be clear. So don't worry about that. This, whatever, for the time being, whatever you have to understand, I have explained. So thank you for listening. Give me a valuable feedback and suggestions. I hope you are enjoying that. I heard that so many feedbacks I am getting is good presentation and all. So this, thank you for all the cooperation, and this lockdown period, utilize the time to learn this subject. So you can score maximum marks for that. That's my guarantee. I have simplified this And this is the systematic way of learning. This I have learned by teaching my students for so many years. So this I am sharing with you for my entire whoever want to learn the subject. So anywhere in the country. So they can use this module, and this full syllabus I am going to explain. So it will be very helpful for the students. So this, please listen to that explanation and give me your valuable suggestions and feedback. Thank you.